Hello and welcome to Abashed Pursue. Today I'm going to do a scene-by-scene breakdown analysis of Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 2. I've just finished the episode and I'm super stoked and super excited to talk about it. Scene number 1. There's this epic scene where Jaime is standing and it is like a council, and you have Bran, Sansa, Dany and Jon sitting right in the front. You have people from the north sitting on the left and people supporting Dany sitting on the right, and they are judging Jaime as to the stuff that he has done in the past. Should he be taken in or should he be killed at the spot? Why has he come back to Winterfell? All these questions surrounding Jaime. And therein, when Jaime tries to defend himself, there's this epic line that Bran splurts out: "Things we do for love." Now, the people who have been following this from Season 1, Episode 1, well, this is a big shout out to that episode wherein Bran catches Jaime and Cersei making hot sweet love on top of a tower, and then he pushes Bran with the same and saying the same line, at that very instant: "Things we do for love." So a very huge shout out to Season 1, Episode 1. Again, a very strong scene, and people who have seen it all, know it all, they get that vibe, right? And when he says that, you should see Jaime's expression change, like, oh my god, he still remembers. Let's get to scene number 2. This is between Gendry and Arya. I think this is the blacksmith stable where he's making the swords, made of Valyrian steel, the daggers, whatever he can conjure. Gendry, obviously, and Arya walks in asking about her tool, her dagger, her weapon, so as to speak. And when they are talking, she wants to know what does a White Walker look like. She's a true player of the game. She wants to know what her opponent looks like. She wants to really explore, what do they do, how difficult it is to kill them. Gendry says they're much like death. Nothing like death, isn't it? There, Arya brings these beautiful lines in. "I know death." Right? Let me quote. "I know death. It's got many faces. I look forward to seeing this one." Crazy Arya. Scene number 3. This is the encounter that we wanted to see. Bran and Jaime in front of that red willow tree where Ned Stark used to sit, contemplate about life and everything else. That same tree. Bran is sitting there. Jaime walks up to him, talks about what is going on and why did not tell them. And there is this question that he asks: what about afterwards? When all of this is done, when we have defeated the White Walkers, when we are alive, when we have won, what about afterwards? And Bran, in his own mystical demeanor way: how do you know that there's an afterward? And the scene ends. And this is like the biggest question out there. Who will live after this great war? Who will survive the great war? And maybe no one will. Maybe everyone's gonna die. Maybe, it's gonna be like Endgame. Not Endgame, it's going to be like Infinity War, when half of the Janta dies, half of the population dies. How do you know if there's an afterwards? I think that is an epic Bran quote, and it's going to be a Bran quote forever. Scene number 4. Jaime and Tyrion. So now the brothers have reunited. They're talking. And Jaime brings this point. Firstly, they still believe the baby is real, right? Last episode, the first episode, we saw Cersei drink wine heavily. if there was a baby, she shouldn't be drinking wine, isn't it? She denied wine when she was offered wine from Tyrion. Now that raises a lot of questions. Maybe she's lying, and maybe she's fooled both her brothers into believing that there is a baby on the way. Please protect me, your only sister. So at this point, both of them believe the baby is real. Then Jaime says that, you know what? She fooled you more. She fooled me more than you. And Tyrion says, and I quote, "She never fooled you. You always knew exactly who she was and loved her anyways." How true is that? You can give all the bullshit, but this is the real truth. Jaime knew what Cersei is, what kind of a person she is, but she still loved her. And no matter what, as he rightfully says, things people do for love. Again, there's this ode to an old dialogue that we have heard from Tyrion. At the age of 8, I always imagine myself to be dead in my bed at the age of 80 with a belly full of wine and a girl's mouth around my you-know-what. So, typical Tyrion line over there where he's again contemplating about life, about how things are going to go forward. Great scene, nicely put up. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's move to scene number 5. Sansa and Daenerys. Now, again, an encounter that we all wanted to see. Daenerys talking to Sansa, most likely being, guided by Ser Jorah Mormont. Sansa says this line, and I quote, "Men do stupid things for women. They're easily manipulated." I think that sums up most of the stuff we do. There's nothing left to add to that list. Guys, I hope you're listening, because Sansa has really put out our portfolio, our main targets, our main work chart that we do based on the stupid things we do for women. So yeah, and then she raises a very valid question. What about North? You want the Iron Throne, you're going to go ahead and most probably get the Iron Throne. What about North? North had decided never to bend its knee for anyone, to anyone. What about North? And Dany does not have an answer for that. Scene number 6. Scene number 6 is what we get is again a reunion, Theon and Sansa. And this scene is powerful. This scene is emotional. Both of them look at each other, and you can see tears in Sansa's eyes. And when both of them come together and they hug it out, because you've seen the whole episode, you've seen the whole series, you know the amount of trauma both of them have gone through and how much have they survived. After going through all of that scene, it is a total breakdown. I broke down, That was a beautiful scene. The amount of stuff that they have gone through cannot be stressed enough. And seeing them together, it really feels good. Next scene. The small girl and Ser Davos. So Ser Davos is serving meals to everyone, to people who are not warriors, and he's just serving meals. He's just telling them, we've got to fight, we've got to go out there, we've got to do our thing. And there's this small girl who has a mark on her face, a burnt mark on her face, much like Stannis Baratheon's daughter. That's right. So you know what relationship was there between Stannis Baratheon's daughter and Ser Davos. That teacher mentor, that fatherly thing that was there. That scene is very poetic, right? He looks at her, and you know why is that look there, because he's reminded of a brave girl who was killed by some very weird stupidity happening thanks to Melisandre. By the way, where is Melisandre? Last time I heard she went up south. They should have shown her. They haven't shown her in this episode as well. But this scene is a good shout out. That small kid was brave and wanted to do correct things. This small child, she did not want to go into the crypt because that was the safest place. She wanted to be outside and want to fight. Scene number 8. Let us talk about the war council that has been formed to discuss how they're going to attack the White Walkers, or they're going to defend the castle. There they are conflicted with this opinion that the Night King is not going to expose himself. Then Bran comes up with this line, and I quote, "He'll come for me." Right? Then Sam says this beautiful line, "That's what death is, isn't it? Forgetting. Isn't it being forgotten?" Poetic, philosophical, everything that you can ask for, right? In the midst of everything, this great piece of art, this great philosophical insight that how can you be dead even if you are alive, is by being forgotten. If there's no one thinking about you, if there's no one, if you're not available in any memory, I think that is when there's this philosophical or a metaphysical death that happens of an individual, when his memories are, not, when there are no memories of his that are existing. No one is thinking about you. That is when you die. So Dorman says, and I quote, "We are all going to die, but at least we die together." So there's this hope, or there's this last ray of happiness that is there, that okay, we are dying, we're going to die, because they know that the odds are completely stacked against them, and they don't know how they're going to win this thing, and they know that okay, might be this is the end, this is the end game, this is the last stop, and this might be over, but at least I'm with you guys, right? Arya and Gendry, oh my god, now things began steaming up now. So here is what our little sweet Arya wants to know now. The curiosity of virginity. He said, "We are probably going to die soon, and I want to know what it's like before that happens." And I think you're wise enough to know what I'm talking about. So there's this steamy scene that happens next between Arya and Gendry. Much needed. Girl has been through a lot, and Gendry. So there's this thing that I wanted to bring to your notice. There was this scene in season 1, I don't remember the episode, where Lord Baratheon tells Ned Stark, one day I have a son, you have a daughter, one day we'll get them married. Maybe poetic justice happening all over again. The son, legitimate, illegitimate, doesn't matter, is Gendry Baratheon, and the daughter Arya Stark. Maybe if they survive the ultimate battle, which I hope they do, they'll get together. Next scene number 10, the knighting of Lady Brienne. So Lady Brienne never wanted to be Lady Brienne, she wanted to be known as Sir Brienne. And there's a scene when Dorman talks about why can't women be knighted, and she's like, women are not knighted. Like, why? Tradition. What tradition? Straight out there, not stopping, not keeping anything at bay, really saying that out loud. And in that way scene, Jaime says that a king is not needed, a knight can knight someone. So Jaime, in a very pleasant way, does the honors, and now you have Sir Brienne. A beautiful scene, a very nicely shot, nicely executed scene. Right before the world's end, you have all those tiny little wishes being fulfilled. Next scene number 11. Lady Mormont. Now, so Jorah Mormont is pleading Lady Mormont to go to the crypt, stay safe, but she wants to fight. And I quote, "I will not hide underground. I pledge to fight for the North, and I will fight." Wow, what a kiddo, an absolutely brilliant character, and shows, bravery comes in all packages. You cannot teach that. You cannot. It just comes from inside. Scene number 12. Sam gives Heartsbane to Sir Jorah Mormont. Now, Sam has his family sword, which is made of Valyrian steel, and that will be helpful in killing White Walkers. He very gracefully gives it to Sir Jorah Mormont, who accepts it and says he'll carry it with a lot of valor and a lot of pride. Very emotional moment. We all, it's like putting your bets out there. We all have something to fight for, right? Great scene. Scene number 13. Jon and Dany in the crypt. And think about doing what you're thinking. Do not reveal this thing now. Not the right time. But Jon, in all his innocence, and I quote, "My real name is Aegon Targaryen." Now after that, point to be noted, after that, Dany says, if that is true, you'd have to have a claim to the Iron Throne. She is not concerned about Jon and her. She's not concerned about love. She's not concerned about anything else. All she can think of, all she can imagine is getting her hands on that Iron Throne. And whatever comes in the middle is a problem. So now Jon is a problem, even though he is her nephew, right? But that doesn't matter. She wants the throne. And now Jon is a problem. And I know Jon is too naive, too innocent to see that he has become a problem for Dany. And well, how is that going to play out? We'll see. To top it all, the last scene where you have everything being set up, the horses are being ready, Missandei is kissing Grey Worm, and the battlefield is set, and you see the hooves, the bones of the White Walker horses, right? And they're at a distance, and they can see Winterfell. Ladies and gentlemen, winter is officially here. What's going to happen? Who's going to sit on the Iron Throne? Let's check it out in the next review. Bye bye.